In our last module, we introduced the instructional core as a way of thinking through all the different areas we need to make changes in for an instructional shift to really make a difference. As a reminder, the instructional core has three parts. Of course, the first part is the students, and anytime we make a shift in practice, we need to think about how their role changes and how to help them understand that changing role. Of course, instructional practice means the teachers are doing things differently, and we need to think about how we're supporting teachers throughout the change process. And last but not least, the curriculum itself needs to change. And it's this change in curriculum that we're going to focus on as we begin Module 3. So, how does the curriculum change when we go to implement effective grading practices? That shift can be summed up in one big word: focus. We abandon long lists of curriculum to cover, and we seek to focus our curriculum on the most important concepts and skills for students to master. This focus allows us the time and the space to effectively implement the different shifts in grading practices we've been exploring so far in the course. So, what does focus look like? Well, let's take a stab at describing that. First of all, focus means that we have 1 to 2 essential questions or 1 to 2 essential standards for a unit of instruction. These essential questions or essential standards provide the forest, the big picture that helps students see what they're going to be learning. Following that, we then have a very limited number of essential learning targets, approximately 5 to 10, kind of depending on your content area and the unit you're looking at. And those learning targets provide the trees of the forest. They provide the specifics of the big picture, and therefore they need to be clearly aligned to those essential questions or those essential standards for your unit. Now, I can hear some people right now starting to freak out because our curriculum documents tend to be very full of lots of standards and lots of learning targets and long lists of stuff we have to address. And that's where this next point becomes very important to keep in mind. Anytime we give kids a rich learning experience, they learn many, many more things than the essential learning targets we identify. And that's where those lists get addressed. However, in order to honor grading axioms 3 and 4, to really be clear about where the grade comes from, and to make sure that students and parents are clear about where the grade comes from, we have to decide in advance of the unit the very limited and focused number of learning targets we are going to assess and base our grades upon. So this shift from long lists of topics and skills to cover with kids to focus on essential concepts and skills that students will master is the essential shift we have to make in curriculum in order to effectively implement the grading practices we've been looking at. So to work on this in our course, we're going to ask you to work on developing focus for a unit of instruction that you will hit early in the school year. So first of all, we'd like you to review the standards and learning targets for a course that you're going to implement revised grading practices in. Again, for probably Unit 1, because you'll want to start out implementing this stuff right away. We want you then to determine which of these standards and learning targets will serve as the focus for assessment and grading during the unit. So again, you can look at a long list, but which of these will be most important? Again, you're looking at 1 to 2 essential questions and standards, and at probably around 5 to 10 essential learning targets. You're going to record these targets in the Learning Targets Unit 1 document that you'll find posted underneath the link to this video on the website. And then you'll have a chance to give each other some feedback about these learning targets to try to help think through the process of how we can get these targets really focused and really clear, again, to buy us that time and space that we need to implement effective grading practices. This process might be really familiar to many of you. It also might be completely new, and we recognize that. The process of focusing curriculum serves as a major topic in a different course, the Learning by Doing 2 course. And if you feel that you need some further support to really determine your curricular focus for this first unit, please contact one of us and we will make sure that those key resources from Learning by Doing 2 are available to help you think through this focus process.